And then this brings us to number 5. So what is the 5th and final mistake that people make when negotiating, Kip?
They accept the first number that they're offered by the employer because they don't want to negotiate. They think, that they don't want to dicker around. These are the people who hate buying cars off the lot. They just want to see a number and make a decision about whether they're going to pay that number or not, I suppose. But
I
look,
love Tesla. You just go to the website, the price is the price, you put in your credit card and the car shows up.
well, okay, but look, here's the thing: hiring managers expect you to negotiate. And so, guess what? When we are preparing an offer, we have contingency money in case you come back and drive a hard bargain, right? So, just imagine that when you get the offer, that there is 10% more money. All you have to do is ask for it, and you don't even have to ask really hard. You don't, right? You could say something as simple as, "Hey, Jason, thank you so much for the offer. I really want to come work with you at Dion Training. I have one question for you. Is this the best salary that you can offer me at this time?"
Yep.
Right? It could be as simple as that. You could get more elaborate, in your negotiation techniques. My gosh, there's books and books and books out there, about how to negotiate, how to get to yes, how to get to no, whatever. Right? You can go crazy, but the thing that I just shared with you will usually work. So you should at least try that. But what's interesting is that the data, because there's been lots of research on this, the data shows, unfortunately, that women are more likely to accept the first number that they're offered than are men. And I don't know why, and I'm not going to speculate why it is. I'm sure if we pulled up the studies, there would be something in there to say about it. But don't do this. There's just no reason to. I hope I've been completely clear with you that there's almost always some contingency money in case you ask for more.
Yeah, and just to keep the numbers really easy, I'm just going to use a let's say, hey Kip, I want you to come join our team. We're going to pay you $100,000 per year, right? That's the offer, right? If he
Mhm.
comes back and says, no, I need 120, that's a pretty far from where I started, right? That's 20% increase. So he better have some justification for why he wants 120 instead of 100. But if he came back and said 105, 110, we'll probably just be like, sure, for 5 or 10 grand, I'm not going to lose this guy. I want him. Right. And
Mhm.
so, and I'll take him because again, we're talking 5 to 10%. So keep that in mind when you see the number of how much you can negotiate and how far you can pull it. But you also don't want to be too far, right? If he came
Right.
back and I said 100, he says 130, I'm probably not even going to mess around with him because I'll be like, apparently we're just on different planets. You're just going to go somewhere else, right? I mean, 30% is a
Yeah.
really big
Well,
far away, right?
well, let
So,
me say something about that, though. Okay, so remember the vision that we have for you, our listeners, is we want hiring managers to see you as absolutely irresistible, right? They want to be so fascinated and enamored by you that they'll do almost anything to have you on their team, right? Because you're going to present yourself as this person who can solve real problems with your combination of great technical skills and great people skills and so on and so forth, right? All the things that we've been sharing with you, in the prior episodes, and here's the thing, if you can do that, then you're gonna get a strong number right off the bat. And when you ask, "Is this the best offer that you have for me?" You're way more likely to get more money. I mean, it's as simple as that. So really focus on being irresistible. Do these things that we're suggesting.
and remember, as Kip said at the beginning, right, where you establish yourself, let's say you took this job and you guys negotiate back and forth and you finally ended up at $100,000. Because again, I'm going to keep my numbers nice and easy here
Yep.
because we're doing public math. So, it's $100,000 after you negotiate. Maybe they offered you 90, you got it up to 100. Great. You're happy. You're working there. Well, next year comes around and it's time for your annual performance raise, right? What are you going to get? Generally 1 to 3%. This year, a lot of companies are doing 5 because inflation's at 10. But even so, that means you're falling behind based on where your money goes. But let's say, you got 5% this year. Well, now you're at 105. Next year comes around, you're ready to go again. And they go, okay, well, now it's another 5%. So 5% of 105 is, I don't know, like
Get your
111,
calculator
like
out.
111,000 or something like that, right? 110, 111,000, somewhere right around there. I think it's like 110 and a half, right? So as you do that, you're going up basically, 5,000 a year, right? Because 5% on 100,000 is about 5,000 a year. So that's great. And after 2 years, you're now making about 110. Well, if you had left and gone to another place, they may have been starting salary at 110 after a year, or 120 or 130. And so a lot of times where you'll see the biggest jump in your salary is when you go and leave for another job. So
Hmm.
like I mentioned earlier, I don't see a lot of people going and doing lateral moves. That's probably true on his side, where he's dealing with commercial sector, banks, insurance companies, sports teams, things like that. I will tell you on the DoD side and the DoD contracting side, I see people do lateral movements all the time
Mm.
because they can go a place for a year or two, go to another contract company. They'll go from Booz Allen to General Dynamics. They'll get a $10,000 or $20,000 bump in pay. Then a year or two later, they'll go back to the place they were at before, and they'll get another $10,000 or $20,000 bump in pay. Whereas if they had stayed in that company the whole time, they would have only gotten maybe $5,000 or $10,000 over that 2 year or 3 year period, and now they got a $40,000 bump because they left and came back. So it's weird, but it's just the way that world operates. So keep
Yeah.
that in mind. On the commercial side, some companies will hold that against you, right? If you leave us, we're not going to take you back. So in the
Or if
government,
you job hop, right? If they perceive that you're a job hopper, they
yep,
won't bring you in.
yep, or they won't invest in you if they do bring you in because they
Right.
won't give you training and things because they know you're just going to leave them anyway. So this is one of those things where you got to kind of know what your career path is going to look like and where you are, whether it's in the commercial side, the military DoD contracting side, or whatever, because that is going to make a little difference as you start doing this and whether you're going to job hop, or you're going to try moving up in your current field over a long period of time with the employer you're at. But either way, whatever your starting salary is, that's what they're going to base your raises on. So you want to make sure it's as high a salary as you can, because it's more money in your pocket and more percentages as you move forward every time you get that 5 or
Exactly.
10% raise.
Exactly.